I understand why people stay busy. I understand why westernized society drives us to be nonstop doing. Because if you're always doing something, then you never have to sit with the pain of just being. Which is not painful in itself, but it's painful when you realize that all of the doing is a distraction. The doing keeps us distracted. And the moment you're not doing, all of the emotion that you haven't felt starts to come back. And this void, you become aware of the void. Which of course I feel is actually what we are. What we are is space. But we're trained by the mind to perceive space as something missing, as emptiness, as absence. So we feel like there is this tremendous absence inside of us, like something is missing. And the pain of this void is always there, as long as we are perceiving it that way. As not something that is open, as in there's space to breathe. Open like arms are open to receive, but open like a wound, open like a hole. And it hurts. It hurts. That space is painful. And so, of course, it makes all the sense in the world that we distract ourselves from it and feel like we're filling it. That's what it feels like we're doing when we're distracting ourselves with things. Every new thing we think is going to fill that hole, or at least keep our attention off of it for long enough that maybe it'll close on its own, because we feel like it's this wound, and that every time we're still and quiet, it opens wider. And so we think, I want this wound to close, so I have to keep away from it. I have to keep it out of the light of my awareness. And if you're always doing something, then you always have something to look forward to. You always have some place to cast yourself into, so that you don't have to be fully where you are with this emptiness. And we add attributes to ourselves like armor, trying desperately in vain to cover up what can't be covered. We learn skills, we take classes, we become members of groups, and we become very busy. We fill our days with the doing of things that then we feel accumulate, we feel amass to something. We're trying to build a self out of sand in order to feel like we are somebody, like we matter, like we mean something. And we cover ourselves up in these layers of manufactured personality traits based on the things that we have chosen to do to fill our time and our vision to keep us from looking at the whole. And it takes so much effort. And of course, we idolize the young because we see they have so much time ahead of them. They have so much to look forward to. When that's all we're doing is looking forward, of course, we put on a pedestal those who, by the timing of their birth at this particular juncture, appear to have more forward space to cast themselves into than we do, and so we're jealous and we're envious of that. But we keep trying, and it's no surprise either that we fear death so terribly. We fight it off. We spend so much time trying to ward against it. Diets and the exercise, and we take the medication telling ourselves it's giving us more time to look forward, more time to be anything but present, more time to be somewhere else other than here with this whole. And as we get closer and closer to the end of an incarnation where we can no longer promise ourselves more time to get away from this feeling that we have been fleeing our entire lifetime, and we start to look backwards. We view the past as our escape now, and we talk about things like legacy and what it is that I will leave behind, because we see in the leaving behind of something, we can look forward again to a time. We can now look forward to a time that is past ours, into some imagined future where the tree that you have planted is feeding younger generations. And I'm not saying anything about that being wrong, to leave things behind. Not at all. Plant the trees, sow the seeds, even and especially when you physically in this form won't be around to appreciate them. But what I am saying is we're obsessed with being anywhere but here. And I see why. Because the hole hurts. The void hurts. But I also know what hurts more than this is the fear that the mind doesn't understand. It not only fears, it fills the space where the lack of knowledge is with pure conjecture, and that conjecture is always as excruciatingly negative and terrifying as possible. There is nothing that terrifies the mind more than the unknown, but it's not even really seeing it. What it is seeing is its concept of unknown. The mental concept of unknown is scary, is painful beyond imagination. That's what it says. It says there is pain over there. There must be pain over there that is beyond that which I can comprehend. And then it starts trying to. It starts trying to comprehend that pain as if experiencing it before the fact would somehow lessen the blow, when all it does, all it ever would do, is make you hurt twice. I am convinced that there is an element of this void, this opening that I feel in myself, that I know every human being feels, whether they are aware of it or not. If they're not aware, it either just hasn't opened wide enough yet, or they have done a good job filling their time so that they can always be looking forward and away from it, so that any time in the silence they notice it, they can avert their gaze to some future thing, something around the corner, that then they can just spend the time anticipating instead of being present with this. And I believe that there is natural pain to this experience, in the way that there is natural pain with the growing of a physical body. There is a natural element of pain, but I don't think that pain is meant to be as excruciating as we experience it. I think most of the discomfort is because of our fear and resistance. It's because of the story the mind has told about this void, that it wants to swallow us, that we can't seem to get away from it, and so it must be as a predator pursuing prey, that it is trying to destroy us. And so, of course, we were always looking forward, because that's what you're doing when you're running away from something. If you were always fleeing, then you were always looking for the next exit, the next obstacle to jump over, the next bush to hide beneath. And you were never, for one moment, looking at the ground beneath your feet or the sky above you. You're never where you are, and you never feel safe being where you are. You feel this relentless drive to keep moving. That's what fleeing is. Is it any wonder that we're so exhausted? Because we've been fleeing for centuries, and we all feel it. I don't believe there is a human alive today. Maybe some in some removed, isolated tribes that have been spared from this. I don't think there is a human alive in modern, westernized society that doesn't or hasn't felt this, that hasn't or doesn't feel the exhaustion, the collective exhaustion of our species. We feel each other. No experience is wholly individual. All experience is shared. This is a web. This is a network. We are in constant contact we are touching. There is not something that I feel that cannot be felt by somebody else. Because this isn't mine personally. This doesn't personally belong to me. But it is ours. I feel tired. I feel tired of running. I feel tired of the fear. I am especially tired and bored of the stories my mind has to tell about something being better before. Because it does that. Of course, it glamorizes the past the same way that it does the future potential. It's just whichever one appears to be where the salvation is, that's where it focuses. It says I felt better before, when I was busier, when I was doing I felt less. I felt less of this. Yes, that's true. But if the definition of happiness is less pain, is a distraction from unhappiness, then what kind of joy is that actually? Just because for a little while I did what most people in this country and in the Western world are doing, and so I felt like I fit. I felt like I was normal. So there was a sort of security in the feeling of acceptance and normalcy. And in my capacity to distract myself from pain because I could keep looking forward. And the mind calls that better. I don't see that it was better. Different. In some ways easier. But it wasn't real. It wasn't honest. And it wasn't sustainable. More than anything, it wasn't sustainable. There is a saying, if you find that you are going through hell, keep going. Where does that really get you? When your eyes are fixed forever on the horizon, have you really left hell? Or have you just cast yourself into some imagined place that is outside of your perceived hell in the present moment? What happens when you run out of the energy to do that? Out of the energy to keep walking, to keep going through? When you find you can no longer look in front of or behind you, but only where you are. When there is just pain and not an escape. realize this is where you have always been. I understand that this sounds bleak. I don't intend for it to sound hopeful. It is what it is. I think this is truth. I think this is true. I think this is a reality that is not spoken about. This is a reality that especially the popular version of spirituality, particularly in the West, wants to avoid this, wants to ignore, wants to bypass this entirely. The reality of pain, the reality of what we are is space. And to the mind, that is terrifying and painful and empty and alone. Now, that isn't the reality of that space, and I have experienced it as other than that. I have experienced it as vibrant and full and living and breathing and loving. I have. But that is not my experience in this moment. Right now I am feeling pain. There are many nights that I either can't sleep or I wake up and can't fall back asleep because I am so absorbed by this sensation of I don't know how to describe it. It's like a hollowing, it's like a splitting, it's like the inside of my body is on fire. Or being burned in some way. It's a burning. It feels like an internal, non-physical burning, but it is very, very real, very clearly felt. And it also feels like a tearing apart. Like inside of me, there is a hole opening. There is a gap. There is an expansion taking place. Like something is stretching, like all of me is stretching. And it's like I can almost feel things popping. And it hurts, but I know most of the discomfort comes from my resistance to it. But I struggle to surrender to it. I do. And I understand why people choose to leave or numb or whatever it is to try to get away from this sensation. Because it feels like almost too much. It's right there, it's right on the line, and as it keeps going, as it's continuous, and then there's this feeling like, can it just stop? Can it just end? It feels torturous. It does. It feels like torture, like there's just this continuous slow ripping happening. And I feel in those moments very much the way I have felt in moments when I've been really, really sick, which has happened just a few times in my life, where I just felt so awful. And I didn't know what to do. There was nothing I could do. And it was just being in that moment, in this experience, not knowing if or when it would end. And all you can do is ask for help and not know what that means. To feel so utterly powerless and helpless. And just desperate for some kind of relief. And I know that the relief that I'm seeking is acceptance. It is a peace. It is a relaxing. It is a trusting. It's a letting go. More than anything, it's that moment where you say, I don't know if I'm gonna make it. I just need this to stop. And I'm just asking, please help. And there's nothing anyone can do, by the way. This is not, I mean, that's a part of the helplessness of it, is this realization that there is nothing physical that can be done by you or anyone else to change this feeling, to stop it, to mitigate it, to... That's why it feels so helpless, so powerless. Nobody can do anything about it. And so you're pushed to call inward, to cast your voice into this void, actually, to shout in here and say, I don't know what is happening. And I'm scared. Please help. If there is anyone, something, I feel like there's something. But I don't know. It's unknown. And last night I decided to ask the pain for help. I decided to ask the suffering for help. And it was a shift of sensation. It didn't go away. It didn't stop. But I could feel the change between when the ripping is happening. I feel like this, like my arms are splayed out, like my chest is being ripped open. And it feels very vulnerable and exposed. It feels very exposed. And in asking the pain itself for help, I felt like I was doing this. It's an internal feeling. And it wasn't a bunching up, but it was like hugging something to me. Asking this pain for help, I was pulling it closer to me. And it felt like I was hugging something. And that hurt less. That hurt less. I'm still processing this. in this moment. And I was actually able to sleep some after that. And I still feel it. I still feel it this morning. But I'm asking the pain to be with me as a friend. I'm asking the suffering for assistance. I don't know what I'm asking. I can't explain what that means. I don't know what that means. It just feels like my only option. It just feels like the thing to do. The only thing to do is to ask it for help and to pull it closer as a friend. This is really hard, and it's really hard to watch a person going through this. I know that. You want to do something. You feel the powerlessness. Of course, that's gonna hurt also. To feel and see a person, especially someone you care about, if this is someone close to you, to see them in the pain of this helpless, vulnerable place, and to feel that there is nothing you can do. You can't reach them there. You can't touch them. You can't help them through this. All you can do is bear them witness. All you can do is witness them and listen and watch and honor that experience and trust yourself. Trust what is. Trust this happening. Trust life. And it's hard, and it's humbling, and it's terrifying. And even now, there's so much in the mind that is like, it doesn't know what this is, and this isn't talked about, and in the ways that it is talked about are, there's a lot of religious connotation that maybe not everybody, including myself, resonates with. And so it's extra scary because the mind just says, you fucking lost it, man. You're off your rocker, you're gone. You need to be in a psych ward, you need to be in a hospital, if something is physically wrong with you. You're dangerous. You're dangerous and wrong. That's what the mind says. You're dangerous and wrong. And this is dangerous and wrong. This whole experience. That's all it has to say about it, and can even fathom, is that this is wrong. Something is wrong, and it shouldn't be. And I can't argue with it. I have nothing, no proof. I have no proof that that's not true. I don't. I just feel. I feel like this has to happen. I feel like this is not a bad thing. And it's not a thing that I can fight. I feel like trying to stop this is like trying to put off puberty. We can block it for a while, artificially, but it's gonna happen. This is gonna happen. This is gonna happen. And the inevitability feels scary, but it just is what it is. It's scary again because it's an unknown, because the mind says, what is happening? What is gonna happen? And I can't tell it because I don't know. Puberty's a little easier because we have adults around to say, hey, here's what's happening and here's where you're going. This feels like this can't be charted. This territory, this experience can't be diagrammed and graphed and explained and put in a book, and we don't have the evidence of the before and after and whatever that even means. I don't know. It could, maybe it's just this. I mean, that's what the mind says too. Is it just this forever? Is it just, am I just in this pain forever now? I don't know. I don't know anything. But if pain is the only thing that's here, then the pain is the only thing that I can talk to and touch right now. And again, I know that's so hard from the outside to witness. But I think we have to trust this in each other. I think we need to be safe spaces for each other to go through what we have to go through. That's it. To just hold each other while we're going through this. And say, I know that I can't do anything, but I know it's okay. I know this is okay. And to say, I know I can't go with you where you are, but you can hear my voice. And there's something there, there's something there that's alive, and that is this pain. That is this suffering. And so take the hand of what is in front of you. Take the hand of what is there to hold you. And I'll be here. I'll be here holding you. But I know you need something there to hold on to. So ask the pain for help. There's only one guide through this landscape, and that is the pain. That's the suffering. So ask it. I don't think I have any tissues. So that's what I'm doing. I'm asking the suffering for help, the pain for help, the sensation. I'm asking it directly to help me, and I don't know what that means. But I'm asking. And I'm trusting in whatever way that I can. And I know that all of this is really uncomfortable and messy. But I think we need to talk about it as people who are going through this and who are going to keep going through this. I think we need to talk about it so that there's less fear and stigma and just more acceptance. Anyway, I gotta go. Thank you for your witness. I witness you. I love you. We are here. And that is all.